Alright, so let's talk about what we're doing here. So here we're setting up these are all of our variables for our speed. We don't need our ray cast. We don't need our ray. There are instances where we do, but we don't need it for what we're doing. Variable for our ray cast. And this is our random start or respawn position along the y-axis. Hold our start position information. This holds whatever well, so the hit registers that the ray has hit something and what that thing could possibly be, and it kind of holds it in there. It also allows it to calculate. So we're getting our so what our friend or foe is doing this will determine if the enemy fires at the player or will slow down or move for a frame. That's essentially what we're using it for. We already know what this is doing. So here, this is our direction that the ray is, well, it's just the direction of the ray. The ray is invisible. This is just a debug to let us see the ray, but it's not actually the ray. Now, what this is doing, or our if statement, so we have the start position of the ray. We have the direction, what it is hitting, and the distance of the ray. That's what's happening here. This is just if we hit it, if the ray hits something, does something. But this is referencing this, then once we have that object, we can look for the collider. Once we hit the collider, we can look for the game object and the tag, and then go from there. Because this only affects the debug, but does not affect the raycast. This is just direction, but not how long it is. This is the actual direction, how long it's going to calculate for the ray. This right here is just for debugging purposes only. So if I want to make it a little bit more clear, just so that you can see this debug, I should have done that. And I'm keeping these two the same, so relatively visually I know how long the ray is, even though the ray is invisible. But we use a debug to see the direction and use that to say, okay, this is happening. And then we test it to make sure it's actually doing what we think it's going to do. All right, so we have this here. Let's go ahead and make the enemy respawn. So what we're going to do, point or trigger, enter, collider, other, and what we're going to do is if other tag is equal to projectile, then we're going to reset our position. And here I'm going to copy this because this is going to I'm going to need to do two separate things eventually for the two, so I'm just going to have them separate to start off with. And this is react to the player. Now the enemy, let's turn on our trigger. can see that it's working. Let's try it with the player. And then we can see that that is working. So all we're doing here, if we hit the player projectile, we're resetting its position. Eventually we're going to have health and all the other good stuff in here. But the last thing I'm going to do for the player is go ahead and start adding in some of the player's stats. And so we want an int, actually, public int lives. We want a public float. Yeah, we'll do health. Health. And we want a public float score. And we're there. And let's go ahead and add a little bit of that to there. So, this void or trigger enter collider other. And if other that tag is equal to our enemy, then what we're going to do is we're going to decrement health. And then if health is less than or equal to 0, we will decrement a life. And then else, we'll just debug players dead. There we go. Is there anything else? Oh yeah, this is what we're going to do. So for the enemy, if the projectile hits the enemy, the other thing I need to do is destroy it, but I need to tell the enemy to find the player and increment up the player's score. So what I'm going to do is this. So if, actually, not right here, we'll create a void. Actually, it's going to need to look for the player to start off with. So let's go ahead and get that in there. Game object, player, something we've done before. we'll do that right here. Find the player is equal to game object dot find, and we're looking for the name of the player, which is lowercase, which is different than its tag. Then what we're going to do no, I don't need to do that. So what we're going to do is, before we destroy this, is what we'll do is we'll say find the player dot get component. The component that we're going to get is player movement and control, and what I need to do is a score, and we need to increment the score let's say 100. Next, let's do this a little bit more correctly. Float player increment score. Now I'm gonna go higher. And that's going to be plus or equal to player increment score. So we're not typing in a lot of variables. And here we're controlling them up here, which is the correct way to do it, or the more professional way to do it. Let's test this, and this is the last bit of code I'm going to go over today. Ooh. And you can see the score is incrementing. Health is not decrementing, so let's fix that. So what? Oh yeah. Let's bring us down to 25. There we go. And we have that. Eventually, we'll have a more sophisticated spawning setup, respawn setup. But right now, this is what we're doing to get this working. All right. So, any questions about what I've gone over today?